It's about the expectations most marketers set. Like, I have a potential client that we're working on closing a deal with who's getting 500 leads a month right now, and they're spending $1,000 a month to get them. You hear that and you think, wow, that's amazing. But what you don't know is that that client is using Facebook ad lead forms, which are the lowest quality leads possible that you can get, and they're only getting a deal 1 out of every 100 of those leads. And so they're still, if you look at it, like, from our perspective, if you're spending that low, you might only get 10 leads, 15 leads in your market, and that's if you're not in a major city.
Right.
And if you're getting that level of leads, the difference is that you're only gonna have to weed through, like, 15 leads in order to get 1 deal versus having your staff spend countless hours with follow-up and whatever, chasing down 500 people, out of which 450 tell you to fuck off because they don't even remember auto-filling their shit on Facebook.
There's a lot of truth to that.
Welcome to the Roll Up and Roll Out podcast. Sit down with blue-collar business owners and inspired entrepreneurs to get the industry insights from the leaders that grow our local communities and learn how to scale your business. Regardless of GED, these people know how to GSD. Here is your host, Paul Childers. Let's get to work.
Welcome back to another episode of Roll Up, Roll Out. My name is Paul Childers, and this is the podcast series where we focus on blue-collar business owners and business owners in general that like to get shit done, because who needs a GED when you got your GSD? Today, I have the pleasure of having Stephen Schmidt on the show. I'm going to let him introduce himself, tell us a little bit about what you got going on, sir, and a little bit about you.
What's going on, Paul? Thanks for having me on the show. Super excited that we are finally able to make this happen, man. So a little bit about me. I am the co-owner, founder of Bourbon Eagle Media, which for the last year and a half, we've been serving the blue collar industry, specifically in home service, with roofers, electricians, general contractors. And we've basically been the go-to guys for people kind of in that 2.5 to 4 million range to elevate their revenue through some pretty kick-ass digital marketing services that we offer, website builds, things along those lines. We started as a lead gen company, and now we're really full service for everything a home service company might need, even though we are actually transitioning into also offering it for licensed professionals. So that's my career background. I've been in the marketing space now for over 4 years, however, going on actually going on close to my 5th year of being a marketer. Started out as a copywriter. Outside of that, I'm a husband and father of three great little kids, and living life and enjoying the shit out of it, man.
That's what it's, I mean, at the end of the day, anybody that I've ever chatted with that's, changed industries, started their own thing, whatever, almost always, it's been about changing up their personal life to, whatever their definition of success is. Cause I think there's this kind of like guru group out there right now, and professional group of influencers that are like, if you're not getting grinding 400 hours in a single day to get ahead of everybody else, you're not a real business owner, right? But what I've found, especially in the industry that I'm in this blue collar world and home service, construction, farming, like a lot of these guys that got in and got started did it because they wanted to form their own definition of what is success to them. So, what does success look like to you?
Man, I think success to me just looks like freedom. I don't even need to think about how to answer that question. It comes down to, can I wake up on a Tuesday at whatever time I want, which, in fairness, I would want to be disciplined and, wake up at a somewhat reasonable time in order to be productive. But can I wake up on a random Tuesday that's not a scheduled vacation and literally just do whatever the fuck I want? And, to your point there about having a company and it being never ending in this, like, I agree with a lot of that to an extent, but even in my own business, dude, like, after about 6 hours of really intense focused work, I really have no fucking clue what to do, like, after that. Like, there's always something I could do, but I think most people really only, especially business owners, dude, we really only get 4 to 6 hours of real work done a day. And so if you can concentrate that time frame into taking 4 to 6 hours a day to get it done, the only reason half of us are doing more work than that is because we're wasting so much fucking time. You know, you look at I liken it to, a business you and I are both very familiar with in the car business, dude. Like, you get a salesperson to go in and work in the car business, that motherfucker's only working 3 hours a day, dude. But he's there bell to bell, 8 to 8, because to get the 3 hours, it takes 12 in order for him to get the 3 hours of real work. But for them, the only time they're actually working is when they are in front of a customer or on the phone with one.
Yep.
And so you look at your average person, it's almost encouraging to think that, like, well, I really only have to work 3 or 4 hours a day, 5, 6 days a week to make like 150, 200 grand a year and have a pretty decent lifestyle. But at the same time, you then, as you elevate, get into business ownership, whatever else, you have to figure out how to get that and then buy back your time. But for me, dude, it's freedom, man. I have an 8-year run to where by 35, I want to semi-retire for the next 10 years because my kids will be between the ages at that point of 7 and 18. And so by 35, I want to be able to soft retire, still operate companies and basically just invest. And then 45 to 60, go build my $1 billion play. And then 60 to 70, give it all back. So for me, success is me sitting in front of um, my gigantic arched window that's 25, 30 feet high at 197 years old, looking out on my sprawling green lawn in springtime in April after a nice storm, and looking out and seeing the sun and taking my last breath and knowing I gave it everything, dude. That's success to me.
Yeah. I mean, your definition of success is a little different than mine, or, I eventually want to be so successful and so rich that I can actually just sit out on my porch, in my underwear, drinking booze, and none of the neighborhood kids bother me because I'm the crazy old Mr. Childers, that nobody wants to come see. But if they do,
Fuck yeah.
secrets are is I got a mattress made of cash, right? Like,
Hell yeah, brother.
I love that.
no, it's great. I love the fact that, speaking of little guys, there's mine come popping in here. I don't know, but you need to go. I'm on a podcast. You just interrupted the flow, but it's all good, bud.
That's all right. There you go. See, dude, that's real life right there, man. Like, what I love about that is somebody's gonna listen to this, and anybody that gets annoyed by that, other than us, because it's our kid, and we're like, "Why the fuck did you just walk in here?" Because like I do the same that. I'm going out that door after and being like, "Motherfucker," you know what I mean? Like, we're in the middle of shooting, and but dude, like, it's one of those things. Like, that's what it's all about, right there, man. Um, Yeah, really, that's what it's all about right there, and to your point, it's that freedom, dude.
Yeah.
Freedom.
That's, I think what happens is, and one of the reasons why I started this podcast was we get so caught up in this definition, and a definition of success and what you got to do to receive it. And you use the automotive industry, and I think that's a great, that's a great connector for a lot of this stuff, because when I first got into automotive selling, it was like, you've got to be here bell to bell if you want to be successful, right? Well, I was, and I was successful, but what I learned is that I probably could have cut my hours in half, and I probably would have honestly been more successful if I would have gone back and done it again, right? Like, there were a lot of things that I gave up. I sold 293 cars in 11 months, but generated whatever that is, $5.7 million worth of revenue for the automotive industry. But guess what? At the end of the day, they didn't give a fuck about who I was or what I was doing, right? Like,
100%, dude.
I could have died the next day. They would have had another ass in that seat ready to go. So, like,
You bet.
it's all about, as I've gotten older, and I'm almost pushing 40 here, but and there are a lot of people out there a lot wiser than I am. But what I've learned is that success is going to be different for everybody. And nobody except for yourself gets to define what that is for you. And if success for you is making $250K a year, but you're netting $125K, and that's enough for you to have your acreage, your buildings, your business, all the toys that you want to take care and provide for your family, or if you don't have a family, whatever, like great. Like go play your game, go run your life. Um, I think that gets skipped over so much in a lot of these different podcasts and influencer shows and shit is like success isn't always 9-figure, 10-figure businesses and having all these exotic cars. Success sometimes is just the ability to raise a nice family in a small little town, not have any debt, do the things that you want to do and enjoy it. And at the end of the day, wash your hands of it and say, man, that was a good day of work. I was proud of what I did. Right. So it's unique. It's unique to me to, one of the things to get to talk to everybody on this podcast is there's so many business owners at so many different levels. But the one thing I've been noticing is that almost all of them are, content with what they're doing and where they're going. And some of them haven't defined success yet. Some of them have. So as you're out there talking to, business owners and stuff, like, are you kind of seeing that too, that everybody's got their own level of expectations of what success looks like? I mean, from marketing, we all know that the more money I give you, the more successful I'm going to be. And I'm going to be guaranteed to get all the leads that you promised me when I signed that contract, right? That's how that works with marketers.
Yeah, and I mean, the shitty thing about my business, dude, is there's no guarantee of anything, which is why I don't sign a contract. I tell every single person that like, hey, we're gonna have a very simple agreement. And that agreement is that you're gonna pay me every month to do this for you. And I'm gonna and dude, every single person that I work with, every single client I've ever had, I've shown it to you. Like I show everybody my back end.
Yep.
Just because I think when I lift my skirt up, people tend to trust me more. So I'm just like, hey, here's the goods. This is what we've done for these people. This is what we can do for you. Here's how we do it. I'm not going to lock you into a 6-month contract or a 12-month contract because my philosophy of business is if I can't keep you as a client, then I don't deserve you as a client, which is why even if people come into our ecosystem and don't get kick-ass results, that can be for multiple different reasons. Like, dude, I can't help when I come in and I give somebody leads and their salespeople can't sell,
Yep.
right? It's very and the other thing is it's about the expectations most marketers set. Like, I have a client right now that we're working on, or a potential client that we're working on closing a deal with, who's getting 500 leads a month right now, and they're spending $1,000 a month to get them. And you hear that and you think, wow, that's amazing. But what you don't know is that that client is using Facebook ad lead forms, which are the lowest quality leads possible that you can get. And they're only getting a deal 1 out of every 100 of those leads. And so they're still, if you look at it like from our perspective, if you're spending that low, you might only get 10 leads, 15 leads in your market. And that's if you're not in a major city.
Right.
And if you're getting that level of leads, the difference is that you're only going to have to weed through like 15 leads in order to get one deal versus having your staff spend countless hours with follow up and whatever, chasing down 500 people, out of which 450 tell you to fuck off because they don't even remember auto filling their shit on Facebook because of how easy it is.
There's a lot of truth to that. Some of my favorite phone calls that I ever did in sales and still are where it's like, because like some of my funnels, and I know some of the funnels for like some of the OEM stuff were long. Like you literally had to think about some of the answers, and yet you would call some of these people and be like, "Oh no, I didn't fill that out." I'm like, you had to think through like who your third cousin on your mom's side, like name and age was. Like you were like, motherfucker, you went on to freaking like genealogy and did like a family line and like family tree like search to get these answers for this stuff. And you're sitting here telling me that you don't remember filling this form out. Like, A, what were you on and where can I get it? I didn't say that out loud. But like, you know what I mean? Like people just, there's different levels of quality to everything and values to everything. Like, right. Like what you just said is like, yeah, I can pay $1,000 a month and I'm going to get all these quote unquote leads. But the actuality of it is really you're only getting one good lead out of every 100 swings, right? Like, so like people's idea of value and money versus results has always been a really fascinating subject to me. And it is something that I talk with, a lot of the other business owners I'm working with on from a customer to client standpoint too, because we always see in competition, we advertise something and then the customer comes back and is like, well, what's your best price?
Sure.
Right. And that is it's such a downer for people that are just in the price game, because they look at that and they go, "Oh, I got another guy got to quote lower." Where I'm going, if you have, you know, confidence in the work you do and you are truly a good artist in the field that you're in, finisher, whatever it is, your quality is higher than everybody else. Don't play that pricing game, right? Like, be like, here's the deal.
Sure.
You said it yourself. You're not you don't make any guarantees. I can't make, being in the business area that I'm in finance, you can't make guarantees with that kind of stuff. What I can do is say, I'm going to give you information and I'm going to give you details and everything. I'm going to show you how to read this data and understand moving forward what questions to ask others and what to look for, so that you're equipped, regardless of whether or not you use me or not, to at least not get, taken by somebody that's not doing it in your best interest. Is that, is that an approach that you found as you're working with people that, tends to work? Like, hey, I'm going to show you everything, whether or not you use me or not. You can see how I work, what I do. And here's like 3 things you can take away from this conversation if you do decide to go down that path. So at least you don't get your, everything taken from you for nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. Where I'm at now in my sales process with people is I have a certain minimum standard of client that I'm willing to work with, for one. And for two, it's the issue with home service, and just so you know, I need at least like 3 to 5 minutes to just drop some fucking game for anybody that's thinking about doing marketing in general in either home service, blue collar, anything like that. I'm about to drop you 3 to 5 minutes of the fucking keys of whoever you hire as your marketer, of how you need to think as a business owner. Number 1, every single lead that comes into your ecosystem is gold. But you have to train your sales staff that it's a piece of shit and they have to turn it into gold. That is number 1 thing that you have to have as far as your mindset. And this is where I see a lot of people fail in the business, is they have the mindset of, oh, well, we got leads in, but we couldn't send anybody, so it's the marketer's fault. And it's like, no, actually not. And here's why. Because every other fucking business on planet Earth is spending a certain amount of money with the expectation that if they get a 2x return in revenue, that it's a win. Okay. I'll give you a perfect example. Right now, we're a little over a week post Super Bowl. Okay. Somebody can fact check these numbers, but Kanye West had a Super Bowl commercial. Did you see it, Paul? Okay. He had he had a 30-second commercial, and what did he say in that fucking video, dude? He shot it on a cell phone in the back of his car, and he said, "Well, we spent all the marketing money that we could on the actual 30-second ad slot, so we didn't have any money for the video left over." And here's where it's fucking brilliant, dude. He's literally shooting it on a on a camera phone, which would be any phone today, technically. Fuck, is it 2004? Um, he's shooting it on his fucking iPhone or whatever in the backseat of his car, and he's like, "Well, we spent all the money, $7 million, by the way, on the 30-second ad slot, so we didn't have any money for a budget left over to shoot the actual video. So go to Yeezy.com. We got some shoes and shit." You know, he's like, "Go here, get some shoes." Motherfucker made, I believe, I could be wrong on this, but he made about, I think $18 million so far off of that advertisement.
Yeah, it was somewhere between like 17.4 or something like that, up to like I had seen also like 19.2. Like, so either way,
Okay,
like,
so I'm pretty close there.
yeah.
Here's the point. That is less than a 2x revenue return.
Mhm.
Most people think they're gonna spend $1,000 and that they should magically make $100,000 back in revenue, as if the world is made for them. Like, first of all, bitch, that's a 100x return. And not that it doesn't happen. Like, our average is somewhere between 11 and 30. That's provable based on the clients we've worked with. And that's an upfront return,
Yeah.
right? So you look at Yeezy and whatnot, like his upfront return, 2 to 3x. The market standard is you need a 3 to 5x return for it to be successful. And you have to realize that on the back end, if you have a really great system, a relationship building system, customer relationship building system, CRM, right? If you have that on the back end and it's set up properly, your return long term will be 10x or more. So if you're getting a 10x, 11x or higher return on the front end, your marketer is a fucking genius. And just to say, we've had people that have not gotten results, but it's not been because we did not deliver leads to them. And so the mindset again, number one, you have to treat every lead like it's gold. Teach your salespeople as shit. Number two, if you're not getting more than a 2x return, stop thinking that it's not working for you. You just haven't given it enough time. And realistically, you need to give it 6 months of averaging in order for it to truly actually work. Again, most people will fire us if they are not getting results within 90 days of signing with us. Okay.
That
And
is not to cut you out, but to hammer to hammer this home from a consumer side point, you need to give anybody that's doing any form of digital marketing with you, 90 days is the bare minimum that needs to be met before you just, it's like, because I've seen this a lot in car dealerships. When I was in the car dealership world, I'd get a lot of guys reaching out to me being like, hey, we've been with this marketing company for 60 days and we're not seeing any results. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm like, 90 days is the minimum trial period for all these algorithms to work. That's a minimum.
right.
I like to do, like you said, 6 months. So elaborate a little bit more why that time period is, because I think people don't hear that enough. Like, there's so many damn fucking gurus out there that tell everybody you can see results in 2 weeks or 30 days. And it's like, but you maybe see some. It's easy to maybe I should say it this way. It's easy to see some, but it's also extremely easy to artificially inflate a lot of those initial numbers. And until you actually break them down into the back end dashboard of your fucking CRM and find out that those things were shit and you didn't make any money off of it, that's the problem with it. And I'll let you elaborate more on that because I know you live in that world.
Yeah, man. So I think again, it comes down to proper expectations. And I think most people's expectations is they see all this online shit of people being like, we're going to do this for you in 30 days or less, or you don't pay, or this and that, and all these like played out offers and whatnot. And what most people don't realize is if you're getting the only way that you are getting fast, trackable results in marketing is if you have an e-com store where you are pushing people to buy a product in the very moment they see your ad. That is the only way that you can have a trackable result. And even with that, you're still looking at a 2 to 5x return if you're great at it, right? I can't tell you how many e-com companies I hear of that it's like, hey, we spent $500,000 and we made $2 million back. So you got a 4x return.
Yeah.
Find me a roofer willing to spend 500 grand over the period of a year, and I guarantee they're an 8-figure company.
Yeah.
Like they just can't lose because there's so many dollars. I mean, unless their marketer's just an idiot. He's like, advertising plumbing services or some shit they don't even offer. But like, dude, it's almost impossible to lose long term. But the problem is most people get caught up in the realization of, or not the realization, but they get caught up in the mindset of what every person over the age of 20 is pissed off about all of the younger generation of people wanting shit faster than it comes, people wanting stuff that comes for nothing and whatever else. And yet we're playing the same exact game in our businesses. And the problem with that is that nobody is accounting sales cycle. Nobody is accounting whether or not your salespeople are actually trained enough to close deals. Nobody's accounting for that. All they do is they look at where are we spending the money and then blaming the person they're spending the money with. But it's like, dude, I go knock a door. Like, and here's the thing, and I get it. Don't get me wrong. Don't hear me wrong. I'm not complaining about the clients we have. What I'm just saying is that I understand because I've been in the business. I understand that you can send a 1099 salesperson out for fucking free who comes and brings you revenue for free. and then you just pay them when they close a deal, right? So there's this jaded perspective of, oh, well, just send more guys out to go knock more doors and, eventually we'll have money coming in. Why do I need marketing budget? It's like, and then you have trainers and coaches and everything within that space too that are like, oh, well, your marketing budget should only be 5 to 10% of your revenue. And it's like, you can fit that in, but realistically, for you to have kick ass, not just lead generation, but an overall brand, really you need to treat it like every other business and spend 15-20% on your marketing, right?
Well,
So
that's interesting. During the retreat that we were at, I don't know if you follow Jacob Stoller or not at all, but he made kind of a really interesting um, comment that I think a lot of people miss. And
he was at this retreat.
yeah, he gave a presentation on systems, man. It was
How the fuck
was
did I not get invited to this thing? I love that.
so shameless plip. If you want to get invited to this stuff, Uncaged VIP group. That's where you got to go. Because Byron Wolf was there and gave some tax strategy tips for everybody. It was fire. But anyway, what Jacob said that kind of stuck out to me that I agree with. I've dabbled in marketing enough that I fully embrace this thought is that marketing will get people into your door. Your branding sells them.
100%.
Right?
100%.
Because people make brand as like, it's like my business name. It's like, no, motherfucker, your brand is fucking everything that everybody interacts with you once that person comes to your door. If your salespeople suck, your brand sucks. If your CRM sucks and your automation suck, your brand sucks. If the receptionist that answers the phone is a complete bitch and isn't nice to people on your phone, your brand sucks. Fix your brand and fix everything that falls underneath that. And you'll find out that marketing probably actually works really damn well. You just suck as a business owner and refuse to attack and fix the things that aren't working. I hate to say it, but let's call that out.
And this is dude, to your exact point, this is why I don't say I own a marketing company. There's a very specific reason our company is called Bourbon Eagle Media and not Bourbon Eagle Marketing. And the reason why is because marketing is such a potpourri term. It's not specific. And so it's one of those deals that can encompass so many different things. But whereas media is, well, what is media? Media is written media, it's visual media, it's everything. It's everything a customer of ours needs in order to truly brand themselves on the outside with marketing, but they also have to have their internal shit together. And to that point, you look at different brands and what they represent. You look at a brand like Chick-fil-A, right? Chick-fil-A is not out here running lead campaigns and whatever else because they don't have to.
Yeah.
Because the whole goal of marketing is for you to eventually be so good and such a just absolutely dominant brand that you no longer need to market. I think Texas Roadhouse, funny that we're using restaurants. I think Texas Roadhouse is the best example of this. They do not have a marketing budget.
No, you never see anything about them at all.
They have never ran a single ad campaign because they have trained their staff and they have developed their brand into being as such that organic marketing through word of mouth, trade events, all these different things, that they have become $1 billion corporation because of brand. And that is what I think most people are missing. They just think, to Jacob's point, I think he made a post about that because I recently read that and was hoping, I'm glad you said it because I remembered reading that and was going to say it, but I'm glad it came from you directly. But to that point, dude, like the whole goal is to not have to do marketing. Like the whole goal is to graduate from using us as your liaisons to get people in the door in order to be a part of your overall branding machine of building long-lasting evangelistic relationships with your
Yes. I mean,
that's what we do.
And when you look at the life cycle of actual businesses, like really that first step of marketing should really only exist that first like 2 to 4 years of existence, right?
100%.
Now I get it as you have like, if you've got a ton of different product lines and new product launches, like if you get to be like a Fortune 100 business, okay, marketing takes on an entirely different definition at that point in time, in my opinion, because then you're creating market plans for every individual unique item that you're launching. Most small business owners, though, I think the mistake that they make is that there's all these gurus out there that are like, oh, you need marketing to blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, here, look, like the marketing and sales and branding. I mean, honestly, like they all go into each other. Like you need marketing, which is the fuel to start and run your vehicle. But if the engine isn't tuned up and doesn't have all the components already ready to run, which is your brand, that's your salespeople, that's your internal processes, operation, perceivable, all that shit, nothing's going to happen when you pour that marketing into it, because guess what? The engine's still broke, right? Likewise, if you don't have a good marketer and you're running a engine that is a high performance tuned engine and you're dumping like fucking E85 into that shit, you're also going to have a bad result. So like, it's equally as important to understand how to pair those things together to really get the most efficiency out of it. And I think that's a gap that exists because partially like business owners just don't know on it. Like we just don't know what we don't know. And some of that just takes a little bit of time and effort. Like when I was in automotive, I took a lot of time to figure out, when I'm talking to these different marketing companies, what are the KPIs and the numbers that I need to know to tie it back to my actual like results. And when I would start asking these marketing companies these questions, like I got hung up on probably like 4 or 5 different times from like some pretty big name companies out there because they were fucking with people. And like that to me, like all of a sudden was like, oh, you motherfuckers, wait till I get this out there to my network. Right? You're muted, bro. You're a professional mime now.
Oh yeah, that was my bad. It's funny because I cracked a joke too. I don't know if I'll repeat it. I was joking with you. I was like, yeah, it's just surprising you didn't just fucking hire us from the beginning.
I mean, you're not wrong. I'm just broke. That's my problem.
No, you're not. No, you're not. But I know the reason why. And it's funny though, because dude, I've had several conversations with other people. Like I have another friend of mine who is in the, I would say, the health space, professional services, and the dude spent like 13 grand on a marketing company that just completely screwed him over. And he hit me up to like help him fix the stuff. And we were talking, and like this is where I have to grow. Honestly, this is where I struggle with, is that I am so just stoic when it comes to what we do, that I'm like, you're gonna either hire us or you're not. I'm not gonna chase you, because the last thing I'm gonna do is chase you and you not get results or not give it exactly what I'm telling you to give it. And then you be mad at me, especially if we have a good relationship. And so what typically ends up happening is people will have a conversation. I give them everything. They go off, they hire a marketing company, they have a horrible experience. They spend 5 figures doing so. And then they come back and they're like, man, can you help me like look over this, whatever? And I always do. I've never charged anybody for it. I look over and I say, here's what I would have done different. This, and this. And oh, by the way, you should have just fucking hired us. And every single one of them goes, I know.
Yeah. Hey, but you're right. You're right though. And like, fact of the matter is you set like this is funny, but and I haven't told you this before, but like the couple of calls that we've been on, you've set the bar so high for me because I agree with a lot of the stuff. Like I know enough of marketing that I could probably just set myself on fire and get no real benefits of it, but at least I started the fire. But I've just chosen this whole year to just run as much stuff organically as I can because you know what? It's not perfect, but it's working. But I'll tell you right now, part of my goal this year is to consistently be bringing in 25.5 a month. And I can tell you just based off of what I've been seeing the last 3 months is that organically, could I do it? Yeah, I probably can. But physically and emotionally, like 2 things that I'm going to be doing in the next quarter here is I'm going to be hiring somebody to actually run my digital ads because I'm ready to spend. And I think I have a good idea of how to do it that I didn't have before. And that was part of why I didn't want to pay somebody, is because like I still didn't know what it was that I was even really doing or what my message needed to be. That's become really clear the last probably 4 weeks for sure. And then part 2 of that is like I'd need to hire somebody, probably like a VP, as Scott Ramage calls them, a virtual professional, not an assistant, right? Like next thing you know, we're not going to be able to call it like midget tossing or dwarf tossing anymore. That's
Terrible.
tangent. But like a virtual professional, because what I've realized is that like yes, like the lead gen stuff is great. I'm going to spend way too much fucking time myself responding to leads that I don't need to be responding to if I don't have somebody hired to help me kind of just go through those, especially on like Facebook and stuff. So I think that's a part of it too that people don't always know ahead of time. And this, I'm gonna, as we're kind of wrapping stuff up here, I'm gonna let you use this as kind of your final, like, what people need to look for and why it's important to really do your due diligence on marketing. Because here's what I know: we spend too much time following into this, like, we need marketing, but we don't know what the fuck it is that we're actually marketing, right? Like, it took me, I'm a year in. The March 3rd of this year, I'll be 1 year into my business, and it's taken me almost that full year. Some bad decisions, some different partnerships that I've had to blow up, some different things that I'm going through, like, just like from a thought process, and like new introductions that I made where I'm like, holy shit, like, this is something I need to bolt on. But like, I didn't know what my message was. So no, regardless of who the marketer is or what their program are, if you as a business owner don't know what it is that you're actually doing, like, if you don't have that level of clarity, you can throw all the money in the world at something and you're going to get bad results. Like, and I'll let you elaborate that on that and even emphasize that even more, because I think that gets left out a lot.
Yeah. So there's this concept, and it's not mine, but I'm not going to go through the whole roadmap just for time's sake because of time. But there's this concept that most people, and I believe this to be true, that most business owners, however you want to identify that, um, they are stuck in what's called the struggling operator phase. And what the struggling operator phase is you have three components to business. That's it. Fuck HR, fuck accounting, fuck all of it. Okay. On the back end, you have three phases of business that keep you in business, and all the other stuff around that are just filler, right? They're important. So I don't mean to, say they're not, but the only three things that you have to figure out in order to have a successful business, in my opinion, is first of all, it's three questions. The first question is your business generating enough attention to where you have an overabundance of people to sell to, of people that are interested in your product or service, people that want to do business with you? Do you have an overabundance of that to where you are actually losing more people because you can't keep up with it versus having to go and fight and figure out where to find business? That's number one. Number two is, are your sales conversations easy? Meaning, are your salespeople order takers? The goal is for you to not have master closers. As much as people want to like be like, oh, we gotta have good salespeople and blah blah blah. The goal is for people to literally come in, lay down, buy your shit. Like, that's the goal of business.
Yeah.
Find me a business owner that's like, yeah, I mean, find me a business owner that's like, no, I have to have master salespeople because that's how business is done. Like, no, like, if you could take somebody coming in being like, give me the fucking Coke and a burger, you'd rather take that than somebody coming in and going, I'm a vegan, but sell me on why I should eat meat today.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
It doesn't make any fucking sense, right? So, and then number three is your fulfillment on autopilot. Any operator that is struggling has one, multiple, or all of those three things as a problem in their current business. Then they graduate to successful operator, which then pushes them into, struggling entrepreneur, because then they only have one business. That's their next problem in that roadmap towards the investor, which is the ultimate, goal.
My goal for, I think, anybody to get to.
Sure.
Really.
And so with that, it's one of those things that every single one of those pieces is equally important to support the other thing. If you have a struggle to get leads, but your sales conversations are easy, well, then what do you have to do to get more leads? If you have no problem getting leads and you have no problem selling, but your fulfillment's fucked, it's going to ultimately affect your lead flow because people are going to talk the whole 9 yards, right? So it's ultimately having all three of those things in perfect alignment in order to really win. And so for anybody that is wanting to spend money, especially to support that, the top two things that I always say is that number one, sales solves all sins in business.
Yes.
But how you get sales is through attention and through direct marketing, whether that's having a salesperson knocking a door or you're running an ad. In order to do that, a couple things you don't want to do is number one, you don't want to hire a marketing company that charges you a higher retainer than the actual money that you are spending on the leads themselves. Meaning that if you hire us and you say that your budget is $1,000 a month, number one, I will send you somewhere else or tell you to take one of our courses because you just don't you're not you don't believe in yourself enough to invest money in your company if $1,000 a month is all you have. And I say that very, very nicely, but most of the companies we're talking about, if you're doing at least 500,000 in revenue, like our minimum is really 750,000 bucks a year in average yearly revenue that we'll take on because you need a minimum of 1,500 bucks a month on one platform to have any form of results within 90 days. Um, and so number one, believe in yourself enough to spend it, but don't hire a company that says, "Oh, you've got $1,000," and they're super happy to take $2,000 as their retainer, but you're only spending $1,000 on the actual ads. Complete mismanagement of funds.
That happened.
So and that's our philosophy is like, look, we charge X amount and we're not gonna take you on if you're not willing to be in for X amount per month.
So I want to give a shameless plug to you as well. So anybody that's looking for a marketer that's in like that professional services right now, and I say professional services because I think there are still some like, home service business owners that probably qualify as a professional service, right? They've got their shit together. They're not just running the show as themselves. But partnership law offices, legal firms, doctor offices, all that kind of stuff, right? Like when you sit down with your marketer, ask to see the back end of their analytics because they should be willing to show you their spend ratio because that spend ratio is going to actually show you exactly where your money's going. And they should have good examples with customers who trust them that will allow you to show that data because that data at the end of the day is what matters to you as a business owner. And I can say that as a GM and a sales director and stuff for fairly large organizations, like those customers set apart bad marketing companies from the really good ones.
Right.
So
And I've even now, I don't know if you know this, but I've even now like some of our best some of the best results, some of the examples that I use when I'm showing people what we can do. I've got my guys on video of me interviewing them in podcast style of them telling you exactly how much they sold directly from their mouths. So you're not just even hearing it from me. So like we go above and beyond to prove that we are your best shot at getting results. And I appreciate the plug, Paul. Thanks, man.
absolutely. No, I think it's nobody, people don't think about that stuff long enough, and I ran a successful car dealership. I didn't know a lot off of operations and stuff like that, but I did know digital marketing and I knew exactly what data I needed to tie back into like my online sales and got it so dialed in that it was a simple math problem where if I was behind 10 cars, I knew that I had to throw 1,500 bucks at it and I'd get those 10 cars sold by the end of the month, right? Like that's what we're striving for.
100%. And man, to just feed off of what you just said there, that's why we're one of the few marketing companies that we have a custom spreadsheet that I personally got from a coach that I hired, and developed into what we needed it to be. And like, dude, if you buy one of our courses because you're a weekend warrior and you're like, oh, I'm not going to pay an agency, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. We'll teach you how to do the same shit we do for 2,500 bucks. But if you want the spreadsheet that we use, that we are in the process of, well, we're in the process of making it to where it can't be redistributed or recreated.
Yep.
You know what I mean? In a legal fashion to where we'll win a whole lot of money if somebody tried to. Um, I gotta be kinda careful with what I say as far as that goes, but,
I get you in trouble.
no, yeah, you're good. But it's one of those things, if you want that, because we're in that process, you not only have to sign an NDA in order for us to, like, release it to you, but you have to sign an NDA and an agreement to not reproduce it. And on top of that, we charge 5 grand for that course because that spreadsheet, because of the data and how we know to switch things within ads
Yeah.
is so dialed in that I can look at this spreadsheet off of weekly trends and I can say, hey, we need to change copy on this ad, or we need to switch the audience, or we need to do this and that because I've got it down to X amount of spend produces X amount of result, X amount of lead, X amount of click, all of that. down to the finite, and then if the client does their work of
Yeah.
this is how many appointments, closes, no shows, like we can literally get it to where it's literally a numbers game, which is the goal in business.
At math. Get it down to the math, and everything becomes so much freaking easier. Man, one last cool thing. I could talk to you probably for a full day about this stuff because there's so many pet peeves that I have about marketing. I always sell myself short on it, but fact of the matter is I spent enough time learning it that my bullshit meter goes off a lot with a lot of different people that I read or hear about. If people are looking to do business with you, give us your locations to find you at, and now the best way to get a hold of you is, and then I'm gonna let you go, brother, because I got a call with the infamous Kyle Reed coming up here. So
Fantastic. Well, you can get a hold of me a few different ways. Number one, if you reach out by email directly at admin@bourboneaglemedia.com, you can reach out to me directly there. That's not you can have my personal company email once we do business, but that's for everybody that might be reaching out with inquiries, just because I don't know who's going to hear this. The other thing is you can text me directly at 321-345-8648. Again, that's 321-345-8648. And you can also find me pretty much on every social media platform with the handle at honestly Steven. That's Steven with a PH. And love to build some new relationships. I'm really working on that networking stuff this year, really building out my personal network. And so thanks again for having me on, Paul. Really, really a privilege to be here, and I appreciate you a ton, man.
yeah, man, I appreciate that. I appreciate your time as well. I value our conversations because I just never know where they're gonna go. Right? I mean, it's part of why I do the podcast the way I do. I don't like to have like a real strict outline and flow. And if it goes a little longer because a conversation is good, it goes a little longer, right? Like, that's the way life is, and that's the way I like to do things. So appreciate it, my man. Anybody else that's out there listening, if you want to be on Roll Up, Roll Out as a podcast guest, and you're an entrepreneur that just likes to get shit done, reach out to me on Facebook, send me a DM. I will be having a little bit more of a formal process coming up here, but that will come after I officially roll out my design for the Roll Up and Roll Out podcast, because I want it to be cool as shit and represent something. So thank you again for your time. I appreciate everybody else out there who was listening.